Welcome. You clicked on this video for one of two reasons. One, you're curious to see how I beat Slender Man, or two, you want to beat it yourself and you just need some tips. If you clicked on this video for any other reason, then I guess you can watch if you want, like, I don't know. But yeah, I will be answering both those questions. Not that they were questions, but I'll be answering them anyway. But yeah, let's just I'm basically going to tell you what's going to happen. So I'm at the start of this video. I'm basically going to watch over my run of me beating Slenderman, tell you my thoughts, tell you why I did this, why I did that, like all that kind of stuff. And afterwards, I'll probably give some tips on how to beat it, but I'll be giving tips as I show you my run. So yeah. Alright, so here we go. I'm just on the YouTube video. So I start the game, and first thing I do, hold on, I'm just going to pause. I put the light off, even though it doesn't matter, because you can actually have the light on for the whole run. I don't know how long it lasts for, but I figured out that you can just keep it on because it lasts for a long time. Like, the only time it went off in all of me playing Slender Man was my first ever run, which you guys didn't see because of not video corruption, it was the game crashing and then corrupting the video. So yeah, it was video corruption, but yeah, it did go off after a while. I guess it just somehow lived long enough for it to turn off, which I'm not sure how long it is. But yeah, so you can actually just keep it on the whole run. Like it's not that bad, and because like there's no real reason to turn it off. But yeah, so basically when I start, my plan is to go straight to the big pillar because I figured, so I can't remember what my route was before doing this, but my route now is that I'm going to the pillar first just because that's the most out of the way, just because it's the one that's furthest away from everything. So I go to the pillar, and by doing that is when I start, I just immediately turn right, because you basically just turn right and go forward a bunch. And yeah, I basically eventually just make it to the pillar, and as you can see, there it is. And I keep the light off, just no real reason, I guess. And this is the part that I really struggle with, is once I'm done at the pillar, I then have to try and get to the building, which is at the center of the map. But because I suck at remembering the map layout, I always just end up going to the rocks after going to the pillar. So like, because I don't turn enough, but luckily I pretty much nailed it this run by turning correctly, so I actually got to the path, because sometimes I go to the path and I think I'm going the right way, then I hit the crossroad, which I think I'm at the right way, and then I keep on going, then I'm at the rocks, and I don't know, it's kind of annoying. Sometimes I end up at the start somehow, but yeah, eventually I just get to the building. Right here, I know I'm in the right spot because I can kind of see like a gap in the light in the trees here that is so familiar to me, because I've pretty much been through here every single time I tried to beat this game, because this is like the easiest part to get to. Because yeah, and also when you get the first page, Slenderman, also I'm going to mute this, Slenderman does appear and the music starts playing, but he won't get you unless you run into him or you're just really slow, because yeah, because he is really slow. So as long as you just keep moving, he'll never get you. So I check each room for the paper in the building, and eventually I find it in here. So I get it and then run out. And what I usually do is I go to the middle of the building and then run out that way. But because I was in a bit of a panicky mood because of the previous run, I don't know, I just wasn't thinking straight. I went left here. I literally do not know why I did that, but I did, I guess. It literally doesn't really matter. You just have to get out of the building and go over to these oil things over here, which is where I went to. I was looking around for him just in case, and I looked for paper there. Also, I did discover that literally I have never seen the paper on the sides. I've only seen it on the ends of the oil things, so there's no point me looking for them there. So I got one of the papers and then started running. on 3 pages, I actually discovered that it doesn't matter where he is. When you get the 3rd page, he actually appears behind you somewhere. And he must have been to the side over there or the other side or something. Like, wait, where was he? I don't know. He was over there somewhere. Oh, right there. He was right there. So that happens when you get the 3rd page. So I saw him and wanted to go over to the rocks, but I accidentally went the wrong direction, and so it kind of got a bit lost, which tends to happen all the time. So then I eventually found the rocks after looking for them for a little bit. And yeah, so there they are. So Slenderman is behind me, chasing me, but I am faster than him. So then I look for the paper on the rocks. I also discovered that the paper never spawns on the inside of the rocks, or I just happen to have never seen it spawn on the inside because, I don't know. But yeah, I honestly have never seen it spawn on the inside. And so I checked the rocks and there is no paper there. So yeah, I have to be extra sure, extra careful that the paper's not there. Also, so this is the plan. So I go to the pillar because it's the furthest away from everything. Then I go to the building, and then I go to the oil things, and then I go to the rocks because they're quite close to each other. Then I just go up and around getting stuff, just because I feel like that's the fastest thing. When before I think I went straight to the building, then the oil, then the rocks, then the pillar, then I went around like that. But just going from the rocks to the pillar is quite a long time, and then the pillar to the tree is quite a long time as well. So just to shorten my time running between each place, I went to the pillar first, and then to the building, and then to the rocks, and then went around, just because I feel like that's faster. So I'm going to the corner thing, the four wall thing. And what I do when I run, the light points to the ground, and so I look at the edge of the path, which is where the edge of the grass is. And because I know the the wall thing is on the right, on my right when walking, I just basically look for the edge of the path until it goes in, because the path goes into where the walls are. And in this scenario, like I've just learnt to know what the layout looks like. There's a big gap in the trees, like up above. You can see out there's the sky. So I know the 4 walls are here. And then here's the 4th paper. I look out for Slenderman, he's not there. But I get the 4th paper. So I run all the way to the path, which pretty much now I need to go to the 6 stick things. And I look back, I know it's a bit staticky, so I know he is back there, not in front of me, which is good, because sometimes it just spawns in front of me, which is annoying. But yeah, I follow the edge of the grass because I know it goes to the left. So the walls are on the right, the sticks are on the left, depending on which way you're facing. But in my case, it's this case. So eventually I find the opening here and look at the sticks and find the paper, which I do. So I go and grab it. And this is where I have to run to the pipe, which is not that far away, but this is where I start to run out of sprint, where I start to get puffed out a lot. Well, as in like the character starts to get puffed out a lot. And as you could see, I was walking forward, and then my vision was getting staticky, meaning he was somewhat in front of me. So I had to find him. He was to my left. So I just had to keep on going, hope I get to the pipe, which I did. I can't remember what I was saying, but yeah, I just go into the pipe and I look for the paper as I run away from Slenderman. And I actually discovered in this run, as you can see, that Slenderman doesn't actually follow you into the pipe, or maybe he does, but I don't know, he didn't for me. I went down the pipe, and in the past, I go through the pipe and like what I did just then, and go, okay, so there's no paper here, so I'm about to exit the pipe, and then I turn around just to see if Slenderman's there or not, and actually see a paper that I missed, because the paper actually blends in with the walls of the pipe. So just in case, I go back to check if I missed a paper or not, just because it's really important, because this could be a paper spot, because in my head I'm going, okay, I've had a paper in everything except for one, which is the rocks. So there could be one more missing paper spot, because there are 10 possible spots, and there are only 8 pieces of paper. So yeah, so after my look back, I discovered that there is definitely no paper in here, and I still haven't been attacked by Slenderman in here. Either he's like on the left and right of the pipe or something, I don't know, but he was not attacking me in here. Don't know if I just got lucky or I don't know, but hide in the pipe, I guess, might be a good idea. So this is the part where I die most of the time. Usually what happens is after I get, like after I'm at the 6 sticks, I run to the pipe, and that's where all my stamina goes, and I usually find a paper pretty much straight away in the pipe. So then I rush outside of the pipe because I assume Slenderman's right behind me, which I guess he wouldn't be because of what I discovered here. And then I have to make the mad dash from the pipe to the oil truck, and that's where I usually run out of breath and then get caught by Slenderman, or he's just somehow in front of me, or I don't know, something happens in this mad dash. But yeah, so basically I just run straight to the oil truck, which is on the left side of the path, so you just stick to the left of the path until you get there, and it is a fair distance away, not that far, but yeah, I do eventually find it. There you go. And so I look on the sides, on the back, and on the right side, and then I see the paper. I get it, and then run. Now the next thing I need to go to is the truck with the shipping container or whatever it is, which is quite a long while away. Like, I've died quite a lot getting to it because when I eventually do get to it, I'm out of breath. And yeah, so it's longer than you think away from it. But yeah, it is also on the right side of the path, so you stick to the right until you get there. But it is also kind of awkward because it's really stuck to the side of the path, so you might miss it. But yeah, here it is. Oh no, no, not yet. Yeah, there it is. So it's quite far to the right, bends more than you think, and so you have to go in. And this part's also annoying because you're going along the path and you have to take like a 90-degree angle turn to the right, get the paper there, and then you have to go take a 180-degree turn to the left so you can get back onto the path. And because you're in this one spot for a while, Slenderman has actually caught me quite a lot of me trying to find the paper here. But I don't know, I guess I was just quite fast and got the paper. Then, hold on, so I need the sound for this part. So as you could see there, it went oh, and the screen flashed white for a bit. That means Slenderman teleports. It happens when you have 7 pages. He unlocks the ability to teleport. I think it's rare, but sometimes happens in 6 pages as well. But yeah, when you get it, he'll teleport behind you, which is a key fact that I discovered in this run in particular, because in the previous runs, often what I do is I run, look behind me, keep on running, look behind me, just to try and see Slenderman. Because by the way, I also discovered this, when you look at Slenderman, he actually does not move. And so that's really important because when you look at him, he doesn't move, so you can, I don't know, like back away. And also something I discovered is that you can actually put him behind a wall and back away while you're not looking at him, but looking in his direction and back away, which he won't move, which is really important because you can use the trees. You can put a tree between you and him, so you can't actually see him, but he's right there. So it gives you a bit of a breather, or you could back away from him. So that's really important. And I discovered that because when running away from him, I think I was in the pipe. I was looking at him, and then I was looking in his direction and put the pipe in between me and him. And then I waited there for a bit, waited for him to come around the corner, and then he didn't. And then I went around the edge of the pipe, and he was still there. So then I tried to use it in the building in the middle, and the same thing happened, like with one of the walls. And lastly, it worked with a tree. So I tried it with a tree, and it worked as well. So that's really important. So at this point, I was just trying to get away from the truck with the container. I was trying to get back onto the path so I could go to the tree, and Slenderman was in my way, and he almost killed me by me looking at him. So what I had to do is find a tree, which I did. And if you saw at the start, at the end of this run, I was hiding behind a tree, and then I got caught by him somehow. because I was accidentally looking at him or something. But this time I got lucky, so I went behind the tree, and he can't move because I'm technically looking at him, but I can't see him. So he's not moving, and I'm not moving. And then, as you could see there, that's when he teleported, which I wasn't ready for. So when that happened, I just started running because I assumed he was like to my left, which I got lucky. And then at this point, I'm looking at the tree. Then I look behind myself to see him. And if you heard that like piano noise with the kind of jump scare, that I also discovered pretty easily that it actually makes you run faster. Like when looking at previous of my footage, when editing, when you look at him and then it does that noise with the piano, you actually run faster. So that's interesting. So like, especially in this situation when I'm so close to the tree, looking behind myself for that jump scare makes me run faster. So I ran straight to the tree, found the paper and got it. And then I kind of died because when you do this, like, well, this is the case for me at least, it really gets your heart pumping. And so my hands were really shaking afterwards, and I was just not really nervous, just like, I don't know, I was just, my hands were shaking. But yeah, that's pretty much what happened. Now, so that's my run. That's what I did and how I beat it. But here are some other key tips that will help you beat Slenderman the same as me. First thing that is probably the most important is that you need to know the map, not have a map next to you and look at it, but you need to know the map, like by running around. The best way to do that is by just playing the game, really. I doubt anyone could beat this game on their first try just because you need to not memorize the map, but you just need to basically know where everything is. And there's no way you can do that on your first try. And so yeah, having a map like on your phone or something while you play is a good idea, but also just knowing where you are by walking around is also a really good idea as well. So here's the map that I drew, which I actually recommend you do. I recommend you draw a map just so you it kind of helps you remember better. So just pretend that this center bit is, I guess, on its side, because I don't think that's what it looks like exactly. But this is pretty much the map. You start, you can go left or right. If you go right, you can go up or right. If you go right again, you'll eventually make it up to the rocks, but you could see the pillar, which is a little bit in, and if you keep on going, there's the rocks. At the center of everything's the building with the oil things. So yeah, there's that and the oil things. And then if you go forward with the oil things, you actually make it at the rocks. This is rotated wrongly. I know if you keep on going this way with the oil things, you should make it here. So sorry about that. And then keep on going. There's the walls, the 6 things, the pipe, the oil truck, the truck with the container, and then the tree. My original plan, I guess, was going straight to the house, then the oil things, then the rocks, then going around like that. But yeah, I discovered that why would you go all the way over here just to dodge that when you can just go there and then keep on going? And then that makes me go, okay, so when you're at the rocks, there's no point going all the way around there. You can just go up this way. So it's a lot easier, in my opinion, at least. I think, yeah, so I definitely think the time where you're running the most, where you have to get from point A to point B the most, you need to do first. Like the pillar is just out of the way of everything. So doing that first, I really think is a good idea because you're at the pillar, then it takes you quite a fair while to get to either the building, takes you a long time to get to the rocks, takes you quite a while to get back to the tree. It's just, you want to do the pillar first just because of how long it takes. And the reason why this was kind of dumb is that if I go from the rocks down to the pillar, first of all, that takes a long time. Second of all, that takes a long time again. So it's really just not worth it when it takes a long time to get there, but then you're not actually being chased by Slenderman, so it doesn't really matter. And then when you eventually get the paper, you can make it up there. And Slenderman's really slow on paper 1, so even though that's quite a while away, it's really not that bad. And then that's really close, that's really close, and then everything's just really close except for these two and these two. this oil truck is just far away from everything, really. But yeah, eventually, yeah, so knowing the map is a really good idea. Another thing you need to know is, so I've explained a lot of stuff when watching the video, which you should go back because it genuinely, I've said a lot of stuff there that helps. Just ignoring what I did, I gave a lot of tips there, but just to kind of summarize it, when Slenderman, oh, and this is also some new stuff. When you're running away from Slenderman, I discovered that if you get too far away from him, he just teleports behind you. So there have been times where I'm running away from him, then I look behind me to try and see him, but then I also just happen to be far away enough for him to teleport. And because I'm looking back, trying to look at him, he teleports behind me. So then when I look back forward again, that's where he is. So you don't want to stay too far away from him. But when you get to like the 6 and 7 pages and maybe even 5 pages, it really doesn't matter because he'll be so fast that it doesn't really matter that much because he'll be with you the whole time basically. But for 3 and 4 pages and sometimes 5, you can actually outrun him and he will teleport close to you and kill you, and even though you're only on 3 or 4 pages, so that gets kind of annoying. Now, that's really important to keep in mind. Another thing to keep in mind is, again, when you look at him, sometimes like a piano plays for a jump scare. When you look at him and he's close by, when that happens, you actually run faster than normal. So when that happens, you want to run away quite fast, but not, again, if you're only on 3 or 4 pages, you don't want to be too far away. So that's really important. Another important thing is that sometimes when you see him, especially in my run where I had 7 pages and he was right there, you really want to put between him and you a tree or a wall, like the edge of the pipe or the wall in a building, something along those lines, meaning you're looking at him, but you're not actually looking at him, because if you look at him, you die. But if there's a tree in the way, you won't die because you can't see him. And when you're looking at him, like quote unquote looking at him, he can't move. So if you put a tree between you and him, he can't move and you won't die. So you can easily get your breath back from that. You can get your stamina back up, so you can run to the next spot. As you could see, when I had 7 pages, he was there. And then, but another thing to keep in mind is that sometimes, especially on 7 pages, he will teleport, which is when the screen goes like white from staticky, and there's like that noise. That's him teleporting closer to you, like behind you or something along those lines. I'm not sure if it's always behind you, if it's to the left or right of you. I'm not entirely sure about that, but he will teleport closer to you. And if that happens, then I guess you just run because he is close, right near you, and he teleported. So you really do want to run away. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. The last thing I have to say is patience. Like, literally, after day 1 or 2 of playing this game, I just got really annoyed because of how inconsistent, how some of the times I thought it was. It actually isn't, and when you learn it, it's actually kind of like it makes sense. But something you have to keep in mind is that sometimes you'll just get unlucky. Sometimes when you hide behind a tree, he just will happen to teleport really close to you. You don't know where he is and you run into him. Or sometimes when you're walking and you look behind yourself for a split second, he'll teleport in front of you and you'll die by him. Sometimes that just happens and you get unlucky. So you just have to keep on going, even though it's a little bit painful. You honestly do just have to keep on going until you get lucky enough. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. If you're curious, I will be back on that game because there are some extra modes I unlocked. But that's pretty much it for me. If this video was helpful to you in any way, then please let me know, just because that'd be helpful for me as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Check out my other content, and I'll see ya.